the nice thing, the lovely thing, is that when Alan first started, I'm talking about the late 1980s, when I brought down the Thatcher administration. Alan brought down the Thatcher administration. He was kind of a bad yuppie. He used to be a baddie, but now he's really bad. I mean, I'm really evil. It's like Satan's nasty brother.
Because he's joined New Labour.
Of course. It's a difficult interview, this, hello viewer. It's a difficult interview, this, because I don't want to give away all the gags of the show. But yes, Alan lives at number 9 Downing Street. He's big mates with Tony, and he tells Tony what to do, and he makes a large amount of money.
Can you tell us how that conversion happened?
Well, I've got a long speech about it in the play. Well, it's really because Alan thought that the Tory party had got a bit sort of sad and flabby, and then he met Tony Blair, and they had the idea together to start New Labour. But there's an enormous amount of stuff in it. I can't, because it's much more international as well. Condoleezza Rice is in it, and she's very sexy, actually.
When you're doing satire, does the target really have to be people in power?
I think it's a very good question. Yes is the short answer, but I think it's that when I did The Young Ones a long time ago, it's 26 years ago now, I think it was me who said, no, well, that's enough, we stop now. Always stop at the top. I met Little Richard, and he taught me about being on stage. We had a chat, and he says, always stop at the top.
He didn't stop at the top. Yeah.
Ooh, and when you get with a live show, once you stop, you get off. But anyway, I'm quite proud that I said no to The Young Ones. Let's stop it there while it's going good. And I promised myself I'd never ever repeat a character. So we don't do Rik again, or Kevin Turvey again, or Richie from The Young Ones again, once you've stopped it. But perhaps it's because Alan is a permanent nastiness. And it's written by 2 other guys, and now Alan is I'm nearly 50 now. You wouldn't believe it. But, so Alan is now really, really nasty. And so I think it's not a bad idea to repeat him.
Have you become a bit of a pin-up for politicians?
The other day, it was really great. We were having a look at our new theatre, which is the Trafalgar Studios. We've been waiting a long time to get the show into the West End. And the great actor, Alan Cumming, just finished with Bent at the Trafalgar Studios, which used to be the Whitehall Theatre, which is in Whitehall, which is fantastic. I mean, we're talking like 200 yards from Downing Street.
This is where the Whitehall farces were done.
That's correct, yes. It used to be the Whitehall Theatre, but it's called the Trafalgar Studios now, and we had a look around there, and then we went for a little walk to see Downing Street, and all the policemen goes, all right, Rick, hey, how's it going, Rick? Yeah, all right. And then we went to Downing Street, to the House of Commons, and we watched them, and I'm telling you the truth, there's a couple of MPs, I don't know who they were, but they were going, hey, look, there's Rik Mayall. That's pretty bloody cool.
Do you think they're going, there's Rik Mayall, or they were going, there's Alan Bastard?
Yeah, well, it could be either, yes.
Do you feel that making fun of New Labour now is really flogging a dead horse?
Well, if Tony Blair stops being Prime Minister before the end of July, then my show's going to be a bit knackered. It was written by Marx and Gran, 2 of the greatest comedy writers in the country, and we've got 2 or 3 backup scripts, so that if the singing postman becomes the Prime Minister, then we're right. If Gordy becomes the Prime Minister, then we're right. We've got some backup scripts. But you're a proper journalist, Adam. When do you think
I think you'll be all right. I think you'll probably make it to the beginning of July. I wouldn't run to the end of July. Many people, of course, know you as a television actor. How does it compare with doing a play on the stage?
They're all different mediums. I don't know. I mean, I think I've always loved a live audience, really. And you always love film, don't you? Because you wake up in the middle of the other part of the world, and there's loads of real nice people being around these real nice to you, and you get £4 billion for going, hello. And that's the shot. And then the next day you might say, how are you? Whereas you do 2 hours of good full-on stuff in front of an audience. Well, I mean, me and Aid, Bottom and The Young Ones, Kevin Turvey, and The Statesman, The New Statesman, they were all in front of live audiences.
But looking back at The Young Ones, the characters were extreme, but they were still recognisable people, whereas today, with Little Britain and League of Gentlemen, they're pretty grotesque.
I don't know. My daddy and me used to sit down in the 60s listening to Spike Milligan, listening to the Goons, and we were falling about the place laughing at Eccles and everybody, Henry Crun, Neddy Seagoon, and all this and that. Yeah, and so that's what made me laugh in that particular way. Comedy, it's a dangerous thing that comedy is about, sort of about happiness, about being young. When you're young, my kids, their kids, all the mates, they're always rolling around laughing because they haven't got a worry in the world. And when you're older, to keep on laughing like that is maybe it's slightly more difficult as your legs start to not work, and your memory, certainly mine, your memory starts to not work, and other bits of your equipment, for some people, don't seem to work. So if you can keep attacking yourself and laugh at that, it's a... Sorry.
Carry on.
I've got a big gay following.
Well, you obviously seem to be totally back to health after your accident.
Yep. Someone said to me the other day, he said, well, the thing about you is, Rik, I mean, every single piece in your brain has been severely damaged except your ego, which I think was a rather nice thing to say. No, I'm perfectly all right. I've still got my quad bike. I don't know why that happened, actually. Why did God want that to happen? When I went up to heaven, I met God. I don't know if you knew this. When I was dead for 5 days. You know, I was dead for 5 days, and Jesus was only dead for 3.
Right.
This was 2,000 years after Jesus was nailed up. And I went up and I met God, and I met Jesus. He's a nice guy. He asked for my autograph, actually, so I get an autograph. You know what it's like. And God said I had to go back to do something else, and I don't know what it can have been. So if I haven't achieved that by now, then I will be dead. So I think probably this is God's intention, especially as Christmas is coming. This is Christmas in London, 2008. No, what's the year? 2006. Then, you see, this is what God's intention, to play to not just Christians, Lord knows, all the Muslims, all the atheists, and all the every single colour and sexual persuasion of the world are welcome to see my show. And all they have to give is their money.
I'm sure they'll flock. Thank you very much indeed.
They'll flock.
Okay.
Adam and Rik, we rock. Excellent.